Welcome to another episode of MIFF. Today we are going to be talking to student filmmakers from the Miami-Dade College School of Entertainment and Design Technology who competed at the Miami Film Festival's Cinema Slam competition. With us we have Melissa Espinoza, co-director of OCD. Melissa, hi, welcome.
Nice. Hi, how are you?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about OCD?
Of course. OCD, well, it's about a guy who has obsessive compulsive disorder, and he falls in love with a girl. Obviously, like everybody does, everybody falls for somebody. And he falls really hardcore, as I would say. And this girl at first loves that he has OCD. And she kind of embraces it and says, I love everything about you, doesn't matter. And well, at the end of the day, sometimes you like something, but once you do it over and over again, not that many people like that. So at the end of the day, he kind of his OCD takes over and she starts hating him for it. And so in the end, he can't control it. She has to leave, and she gets so bored with it. She has to go. So she breaks his heart, and he, at the end of the poem, he says,
I leave the lights on,
which is something that he normally doesn't do. And he loved her for that. He loved her because he just loved her, and she broke his heart. And that's what OCD is, and that's how OCD. I don't know. Neo was amazing when he wrote that, and he has OCD. So.
Oh, he does.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So tell us a little bit about this, because I know that the film is it's an adaptation of a poem by college poetry tramp Neil Hilborn. Tell us a little bit about how not just the approach, but what inspired you to use this. What is it about it thematically that you guys liked?
Well, when I first heard OCD, it was a couple years ago, because it came out on YouTube, and it became a huge hit because everybody just loved the poem that he wrote, and it felt so real, and it doesn't have to be about the fact that you have OCD, just related to everybody. So when I first heard it, it just clicked, and when we got the idea and we heard that we were going to do video about it, I was like, oh, we have to do OCD. And when I showed it to Alex, our the other director, co-director, he loved it as well. And that's how I guess the idea came to be. And I don't know, I just fell in love with the fact that everybody can go through something like Neil did. And you don't have to have OCD for it. And yeah, that was...
So you found it relatable?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, it relates to everybody.
Yes, it does.
So,
I agree.
Yeah, it's just it's just love in general, heartbreaks and...
I understand that the film was the result of an assignment for a digital cinematography class. I was wondering if maybe you could tell us a little bit about what the assignment actually was, and then how you thought this fit into.
Well, the actual assignment was it was a music video. You know? So I don't know. We got together. We're like we have a group. When professor said, "Oh, get together in a group, make a music video, come up with an idea, write it down, do the normal day-to-day stuff." We were like, okay, we'll just pick a music video, and we just went around and we listened to songs. And this song, I don't know why I thought about it. I was like, how about we go out of the normal and not do a music video, like music. Let's do a poem.
I'd always watch her mouth when she talked, when she talked, when she talked, when she talked, when she talked. When she said she loved me, her mouth would curl up at the edges.
And we asked Professor Josh, and he said, that's fine. And he was okay with it, and the idea came to us. I don't know, we were just driving around in the car, and we were going to IHOP like we always do. We come up with good ideas there, and I was like,
good
here,
breakfast.
Yeah, it was a great breakfast. And we listened to the song, the poem together, and Alex just turned and he's like, that's amazing. I love it. Let's do that. And we just sat down, we created everything, and we knew exactly what we wanted to see. And that's how the idea came.
Do you think that the principles of making a music video apply to the spoken word?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost identical, because it's still, it's not music, but it still speaks to you. So at the end of the day, you're still shooting almost the same idea. And I personally thought it was way more poetic, because it is a poem. It's more spoken word. It's beautiful. You get to think of more of something else. It's just an idea that's different, but it's still the same concept and the same, you do the same thing almost the same.
Okay.
in a way.
You also co-directed with Alexander Bagaraboy, who's also a graduate of SEDT. I was wondering if you could tell us what that's like. What is it like co-directing? Do you share responsibility, etc.?
We do. It's when I first met Alex, it clicked. I don't know, we kind of feed off each other's ideas. And since the day once I first started here in Miami-Dade, we just started working together. And we've created so many projects together. And then when this came to life, we were like, this is awesome. We just fed off each other. And I don't know, he's awesome. He comes up with these ideas that you're like, what? Okay, yeah, let's go for it. Even if it's hard, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna try our best. And I don't know, I love working with him, and it's such a pleasure, honestly.
Good.
Yeah.
You guys won Best Short at the Miami Short Film Festival. You competed in Cinema Slam. What are you planning to do with OCD next? Is there a future for the movie, or are you guys going to go online? Or
right now it's still doing its festival run, and
Okay.
we're trying to see, if maybe Neil at the end wants to take it under his name and actually, becomes part of him and helps him in his career.
Okay.
And see where it goes from there, and maybe at the end, have it online and have everybody see it, because it's really nice and
No, it
cool.
is. One of the things that I like the best is the pacing. Did you guys think about the editing a lot before you decided to shoot?
Yeah, when we sat down and we created the whole idea. We think about this, storyline, what it is we want to see, and when it comes to editing, there's parts in the film where you see different things like yes, I want to lock the door, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and blow out the candles. Those stuff, like we thought about it before, but when it comes to editing, there's parts where you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Let me just do it now, and then you try it out, and then you're like, oh yes, I love it.
And it
so
works.
And it works
it's magic.
perfectly.
I understand that.
That was the best part.
Tell me about you. Tell me about what's next for you.
Well, right now we're trying to write more stories. Since I love working with Alex, we work together, like we said, we feed off each other. And right now we're just working on more short films, trying to see what else we can come up with. And we love working with a couple people from Miami-Dade. And we've worked with, for example, Mike Benitez, and we love working with him. So a lot of our films, we want to include him in those too.
Melissa, thank you so much for being with us today. And why don't we take a look at OCD?
She'd close her eyes and imagine that days and nights were just passing in front of her. Some mornings, I'd start kissing her goodbye, but she'd just leave because I was making her late for work. When I stopped at a crack in the sidewalk, she kept walking. When she said she loved me, her mouth was a straight line. She told me I was taking up too much of her time. Last week, she started sleeping at her mother's place. She told me that she shouldn't have let me get so attached to her, that this whole thing was a mistake. But how can it be a mistake that I don't have to wash my hands after I touch her? Love is not a mistake. It's killing me that she can run away from this, and I just can't. I can't go out and find someone new because I always think of her. Usually, when I obsess over things, I see germs sneaking into my skin. I see myself crushed by an endless succession of cars, and she was the first beautiful thing I ever got stuck on.
Three, two.
Be focused. Be original. Be a trendsetter. Be an explorer. Be the solution. Be visionary. Be a hero. Be the answer. Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Be creative. Be a hero. Be the solution. Be connected. Be innovative. Be global. Be successful. Be you. Be MDC. Be Miami-Dade College.
Welcome back to MIFF. Today we have with us Jonathan Cuartas, a graduate of the School of Entertainment and Design Technology and the director of Kuru, which also screened at the Miami Film Festival's Cinema Slam competition. Welcome, Jonathan.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about Kuru.
So Kuru is about a man who's trying to escape the familial obligation of feeding his little brother who only eats human meat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of an extreme metaphor for accepting death. You know, I've gone through it firsthand where my grandma passed away a few years ago, and I see how when she was on her deathbed and I have a lot of family on that side. My dad has like 5 brothers and 4 sisters. So you see like all the dynamics and all the stress, how it pulls family away or keeps them together. And I just thought that was a really interesting thing to build on. The way that I make movies, it's really dark, and I kind of intensify the situation and kind of translate it into a horror setting. So I use the cannibalism as a metaphor for trying to keep a loved one alive and deciding when should we let them go, essentially.
Okay. What attracted you to that? Was it the personal situation that you were going through at the time?
Yeah, it was that. I think as a person, I'm just a brooding kind of person. I find myself thinking of these really dark, messed up things. But yeah, it's more about the family situations. You know, I grew up with 2 brothers and we've always been close. So I'm very interested in exploring like the psyche of a family when they're going through something as horrifying as losing someone. And I think that like that's my biggest fear. So I just translated that into a horror setting.
Okay. You worked with your brother Michael on this and on other movies that you made.
Right.
As a student, he's also a graduate of the School of Entertainment. What is that relationship like? Obviously, your brothers. But,
Yeah.
When you're working.
Well, I first met him in 1992 when I was born. And
Okay.
we
He's older.
Yeah, he
Yes,
is
I
older.
forget
He
that, yes.
graduated like a year before me. He focuses on cinematography.
Okay.
So I think our relationship is really important because I have a vision and he'll help me realize the vision.
Okay.
And we live together, so we're always talking about movies. We do have similar tastes, so we understand what we like. Sometimes we don't even need to talk to each other on set because we just know, we look at each other and it's like, yeah, I got you. But he didn't shoot this one.
Okay.
Our cinematographer was Zachary Berg. My brother was key grip on this. Just because since we shot it for the school, the above the line crew had to be from the class.
Sure. I understand that this was your capstone project, which for your bachelor's degree. How was that? Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and what was different about that versus sort
My
of
other
working in
films,
other?
Yeah,
in other
it's funny
films?
because throughout film school, I was usually a DP, which I want to direct, but I just never got my project selected. I guess they were too crazy or something, but I would direct my own movies on the side. So me and my brother Mike, he would co-produce with me and he would be the cinematographer, and we would come up with our own movies and find the funding, produce it ourselves. So this was like a whole different animal coming to the school, and we had this whole crew. We had all the equipment. It was a good resource, and we essentially had to pitch to a committee, and it was the professors at the campus and some industry professionals came in and they picked a handful of projects, and that's how we got chosen. And it's broken up into 2 semesters. So the first semester is pre-production and production, and the second semester is focused on post-production. So it gave us a lot of time to really fine-tune everything and focus on the different parts. Like we took months just sound designing.
Yeah.
We took months just coloring and everything, just going through the script over and over, storyboarding. The professors really took us through the ringer on every aspect of the filmmaking process. So I think it was a good experience.
And do you think the time gave you better results?
Yes and no, because
Yeah.
as I said, we've worked on movies where it was just like a month for everything, pre-production and post. So a lot of the times I think filmmaking is instinct, and these instincts that you get on set when you're running out of time, you make decisions that you wouldn't make if you had more time. So on set it was similar because we only had 3 days of
pressure's
principal
the same.
photography. Yeah, it was the same. But as far as post, it dragged on. You know, I'll have a rough cut of my film like 2 days after I shoot because I just like editing as I shoot. I'll make little cuts of the scenes and see what works and what doesn't, what we need to cut out or put into the movie since we're already shooting. And I'm just good at trying to get a cutout as quickly as possible. But this one, it was a little dragged on,
Okay.
which is good too, because as I said, I got to focus on everything and make sure the performances were good, the pacing was good, and the editing and just the film as a whole. I think it was better because of it.
Okay.
So it's good to balance the instinct and the grit with the focus and hone in on certain parts of the movie.
Okay. The film stars, I'm going to read their names because I'm not, I don't
Right.
have them memorized, but the film stars Thomas Alvarez, Mark Ashworth, and Amy Horler. Can you give us a sense of how you got the three of them together? Because they do give, I think, delicate and subtle performances.
Right. Yeah, I think their performances were very nuanced and specific. It's a kind of movie where they're desensitized to what they're doing, right? So as far and terrifying as this movie sounds, everything's kind of downplayed and subtle, like you said. Thomas Alvarez is one of my best friends.
Okay.
He has similar tastes as like my brother. We all hang out all the time. We like David Lynch. We like all the foreign movies, all the indies. So it was very easy for me to say, hey, do it like this, and he would already know. And a lot of the times I really wouldn't even direct him because he just had that downplayed performance, because he knows that I like that and he likes that as well.
Okay.
He doesn't like the overblown performance. He's not even an actor, so I guess that kind of plays into it too.
Sure.
He wouldn't try to give like these theatrical performances, which are not bad, but I don't think they fit the tone of this movie. Amy Horler, she's a really good friend of mine, and I worked with her on my previous short film, 12 Traditions. So we already had the rapport and the relationship where I could just tell her, all right, I know you're a method actor, but for this, we're not going to do method acting.
Okay.
And that might be offensive to some actors, but we have that relationship where she said, yes, I trust you. So it was the thing with her, she's very emotional. She likes to emit emotion. She's just always emoting and a lot of her performances are work around the way she is as a person. But I'm like, for this, you're the most stoic out of all the siblings. And she had trouble with that. She wanted to emote. I had to pull her aside and say, look, I know that you feel jealous because Mark and Thomas are emoting so much. Even though you're not emoting, your character and your struggle will have the most impact to the audience. Because when someone's repressing it so much, you could feel that.
You can sense that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you can, and you can see it in the
Yeah.
eyes, I think, too. Yeah.
Yes, and a lot of it's repressed and held back. So
Yeah.
it's like you want her to emote, but she doesn't do it.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what's next for Kuru and for yourself.
All right, can I talk about Mark first? Because I forgot
Yes,
to talk.
you can talk about. We're
Yeah.
out of the 8
Oh,
minutes.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But talk
Mark
about Mark,
Ashworth, he's a really trained actor. Me and my brother went to a festival in Arkansas for our previous film, and we saw him in a short film. We're like blown away. Wow, he's like, you need to call this guy. So I did, and then he was actually down to do it. He's a really trained actor. He was in Lawless, and he just wrapped on Magnificent Seven. He played the town preacher with Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
He's really trained on set. There would be times where he would almost be directing me.
Sure.
He would say, why don't we do it like this? Or he would look so into the character where he would say, oh, but I felt like I was doing it because of this. And I said, yeah, that's right. I mean, I didn't think of it. It was in like a subconscious thing, but he was just amazing. And I hope that he will reprise his role in the feature, which is,
The next thing.
yeah.
Okay. Jonathan, thank you for being here. And why don't we take a look at Kuru?
Mother enabled his suffering. She let us suffer because of it. And I don't want to be responsible anymore. Maybe we should.
Why?
I'm going to be right back. Okay.
Did you know this road goes all the way to Canada? I'm thinking of going to Quebec first. I was supposed to be there by New Year's, but, well, My friends are still waiting for me. They said when I got there, they were going to make
Get out.
a tentative. What?
Get out of the car.
Three, two,
Be focused. Be original. Be a trendsetter. Be an explorer. Be the solution. Be visionary. Be a hero. Be the answer. Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Be creative. Be a hero. Be the solution. Be connected. Be innovative. Be global. Be successful. Be you. Be MDC. Be Miami-Dade College.
Other than OCD, the MDC Student Film Festival at North Campus celebrated the work of 7 other directors. The MDC Student Film Festival is an annual celebration of film and TV work produced by students at the School of Entertainment and Design Technology at Miami-Dade College. Selected students and films are honored during a screening and award ceremony held at the Lehman Theater at Miami-Dade College's North Campus. This year's lineup included Delay, Deny Till You Die, a short documentary about the struggles of Vietnam veterans trying to get disability benefits.
A disturbing follow-up to our continuing investigation to healthcare inside the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Troubles at veteran hospitals all across the country have made national headlines.
Secretary McDonald is facing a new challenge. It comes after last summer's scandal at a Phoenix VA hospital.
Now, the agency charged with caring for them is accused of steering veterans toward ending their lives if they become too sick.
Well, I think the VA system is a good system.
I think they could do better. Yeah, they could do better.
But I think it's the best system that we have as a veteran organization in the country, in fact, around the world. I don't know of any other country treat their soldiers like we do. Now, I think our system kind of get backlogged sometime, but I think that it works.
And yet, we do have military veterans who fight for decades just to receive disability benefits. Doesn't this seem a little odd?
Why would they take 10 years to send me a letter?
Dory Stafford says this letter, obtained by CBS News, shows how badly the VA claim system is broken. It's dated July 29th, 2014, thanking Dory's husband Wayne, an Army veteran, for the disability claim he filed in July of 2004. That decade-long delay is just one problem. The other is that Wayne Stafford died in an accident 7 years ago without hearing a word from the VA.
Are there some patients waiting longer than they should be waiting? Yes, there are.
And Finding Love and Other Stuff, a comedy about a young man trying to figure out life after graduation. Debt Sale, the story of 2 roommates trying to sell their house and hide a dead body at the same time. Jailhouse Rock Bottom, a raucous comedy about a man whose prison experience does not live up to his expectations.
I mean, look at this dough! We're gonna be able to leave here in a limousine! We'll be on fleek!
Hey, Allie, get me out of here.
Talk Therapy, the story of 2 friends trying to cope with the deck of cards life handed to them. La Voix, Inspired by Mark Levy's If Only It Were True, this experimental short explores time's ephemeral nature.
Wapiti, ne vous inquiétez pas, plus passant anniversaire. Seul l'homme, messieurs le temps. L'homme seul sans l'heure. Nous souffrons d'une peur paralysante de temps manquer.
And The War Effect, a short documentary about the reality of war and living with PTSD.
And I wasn't the same guy. As a matter of fact, I think that I was more aggressive in some ways when I got back home and more angry than when I was in Afghanistan.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Agustin Gonzalez, and I will see you next year.